Well, hello. I am Michelle, and this is...
I'm Amy.
And we are two of the warrior moms of Atlanta. And we're here today to start our podcast. We're kind of nervous. We don't know what we're doing, do we?
Yeah, no, we have no idea what we're doing, but we do know that we have a lot to say.
And we're here, unfortunately, because we both lost our children, both of our sons. We'd rather not know each other, but we're thankful we do.
We're very thankful.
And this is our story. This is why we're here, and what we hope that our group does, this podcast does, is give other people hope on how to survive this.
Yeah. Everybody says, I don't know how you survive. I don't know how you survive. And I think we were both there one day, too, saying, how in the world are we going to get through this? But here I am, 4 years out, as of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you're...
Almost 7
years out.
August 1st.
We're both surviving and thriving. If you didn't know us, you would never know our stories. And I think that's what's so interesting, and that's what makes our group of women unique, is because we do.
Yeah. I mean, we're intentional about...
I love it.
Intentional,
Yes.
All that too.
And we also make up our own words. Whenever we feel
exactly. But yeah, I mean, really, the wording, just using warrior in front of moms, in terms of us being grieving moms, is that we are fighting through this.
Mm-hmm.
We're waking up each day with this intentional decision. We have got to move on. Life is carrying on, and we want to be a part of it. And so together, we are figuring it out.
We are. Michelle, why don't you tell us a little bit about Carter?
So Carter, just my pride and joy, just biggest heart. I say that he told each of us in the house at least, once, sometimes up to 8 times, no kidding. I love you, Mom. Just big bear hug kind of kid. He lived life truly all in. If he was going to rock climb, he would just, hey, Mom, I'm going up that boulder, and off he'd go. And he was good at it. He was a great athlete, really good lacrosse player, super smart. He's also, science and math. But more than that, he just was the kid, I call him just kind of the champion of the underdog. He saw people that maybe others didn't really want to notice. And he wanted to give them a voice and a space. And I love that. And I miss him because of that.
Now, when did you lose him? Do you want to share a little bit about a brief part of that story for us?
August 1st of 2016, we had just been living in Roswell, Woodstock area for about 10 months or so. And we had just moved there, and he had his junior year. It was supposed to be his first year of his senior year, which was Monday, August 1st. And he and a friend were murdered early August 1st, right before he was supposed to start that first day of school. So, heartbreaking.
And he was your first one. And I know that, you missed that senior year, you missed the graduation, and I know graduation's right now. I know that's probably a super hard time for you.
It's really, really hard. And also really great. It's weird as a teacher, it's so funny. I see Carter in so many of my students, and it's strange because it's so painful, and yet I end up smiling. There's this kid giving a presentation the other day, and I just had to take a deep breath, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's Carter right there. That's what he would do and say, and the look and so forth. And so it's so hard, but I'm grateful too.
You just explained what we're probably going to explain time and time again, week after week, is smiling through the tears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joy in the heart. I mean, we coexist.
Yeah.
The happy and the sad coexist in the same sentence.
Yeah. It's living in the and, it's being able to do both. And that's why we're warriors. That's why it's
Yes.
hard.
And
Tell us
that's
a
why,
little bit about Alec.
yeah, well, Alec, he was a smart Alec. How does that sound? That wasn't the intentions of his name, but he was a smart Alec all the time. He was a jokester, a prankster. Just he was a joy and a pain in the rear at the same time. But that's just the way boys are. But he was a great skateboarder. He was a great friend. He was a great brother. He was a great son. I mean, he was unique. And he was eccentric, and he, like I said, skateboarded and played the guitar, and he was just a joy. Something else is I don't want this to define him, but it was just kind of a part of his story he was a recovering addict. Starting at about 17 years old is when we finally had to make that hard, I don't want to say decision, but acceptance as a parent that I think my child has an addiction problem. He was an alcoholic.
Which that's a whole nother layer of your grief.
A whole nother layer, yes. Managing, not managing, but walking through that day in and day out, ups and downs and goods and bads. And he was in treatment and he was in recovery and he was in deep addictions at sometimes.
Yeah.
And he was, it was lots of good and bad. And it was exhausting. And at his time of his passing at 24 years old, he had been sober for about 20 months.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's fresh in sobriety.
Yes. And but at the same time, it was, over a year is huge. It's a big accomplishment, and you think it gets easier and easier and easier.
And almost 2 years.
Yes. Yeah. It's coming up, but it was hard. Well, he decided, for some reason, we have no idea why, but he decided to start drinking on Saturday, May the 4th, and around noon, and drank all afternoon, and then actually drowned. He drank so much, he was sitting by a pond and drowned. So it was accidental drowning.
Unbelievable.
And, so it's kind of a tricky thing. Yes, he did die from his addiction, or side effects from his addiction. A lot of times people think it's I say his addiction, people think fentanyl or whatever.
Right.
No, it was literally accident.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere. So, and yes, I miss him every day because the times that we had, he was good. We were at that adult stage where you enjoy your kids, where y'all are friends, and you can cut up and cuss and
yes, exactly,
and not like shame them for saying the wrong word
and talk politics and
all that. So I feel like I got robbed of that.
Yeah.
Just like I know you probably feel like and not to put words in your mouth, but we've talked enough. You feel robbed of.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. Carter, like Alec was a really good brother. His very best friend was my niece, who was 6 months older, Sky, and he was drawn to be that father figure. He just wanted.
He was a mentor to many.
He was a mentor to many. And even the 2 weeks before he died, he would see his little cousins, and he just swoops in, would grab them with his arms, and off he'd go and play, and he'd just get at a kid's level, whatever age they were. And I feel, I know he just would have been such a great dad. Yeah. And
that's my heart. That's what gets me too, is I know Alec would have been the best father because of the best big brother. He was 16 when our daughter Layla was born. And so he was, like you said, down on her level and all that. And that's where, you feel like you got gypped. We got the short end of the stick.
We did. I know.
But that brings us to our warrior moms.
Yes.
And there's a lot more people out there that have gotten the short end of the stick.
Yes.
So to speak.
I know, for sure. And thank goodness, we've found each other. And it's interesting. A lot of people will ask, well, what's different about this grief group, about y'all? And I remember, the first time I walked in the door, and I was talking about it not too long ago about, you feel sick. I didn't want to walk. Open that door.
Why am I here?
Why am I here? What am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And just cracking that door open and hearing laughter. And, and I'm like, am I in the right place? Did I end up at, the barbecue?
Am I at a bingo?
Yeah, exactly. Just this pure, just playfulness of everybody and really, truly enjoying one another. And then when you look closer, you could see, two women on a couch and they might be holding hands and crying. And there's just a tender moment happening. And I realized, yes, this is where I need to be because it was both, I wanted to find that. Yeah.
The and was there.
The and was there. Yes. And I know when we talked about doing this podcast, that was what really was our intention, was hoping to give hope to other moms and people who have had someone in their life that has lost a child, and how can we truly survive and thrive, and how can they help others do the same?
Oh, absolutely. And I know just talking to you and, all the other ones, I'm like, oh my God, that happened to me too.
Yes.
Like, I know that, and I feel normal. Like, my brain doesn't connect. I say my brain doesn't connect anymore.
Right.
And I forget things, and I don't remember things, and I guess forgetting and not remembering. As an English teacher, is that the same thing?
I don't know. I think it's pulling maybe from the same part of the brain, but yeah.
But anyway, so like things just, my brain doesn't connect.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, well, that's gray matter, and that's where on this podcast, we're going to talk about all those different things that I feel weird or I don't know what's going on. But yet I have two other moms that said, I couldn't go to the grocery store either.
Yes. And that's what we want to explore and talk about. And we're going to invite other warrior moms to join us. Everything from what you do with your first holiday and
siblings. That's a big one too.
Siblings. How do you help them while you're hardly able to get out of bed? What do you do on those special days, birthdays, like graduation we were talking about? How do you still celebrate those you love in their current, living and the wonderful things going on in their life, and then still honor the loss that you're carrying, and that's a hard journey.
As a mom in general, we carry a lot of bags and wear a lot of different hats. And this just adds a whole nother layer.
Absolutely.
Because we're still trying to take care of everyone around us. And sometimes we have to grieve in silence.
Yeah. Yes.
We grieve behind closed doors, but yet we walk out and we go to the grocery store and we're like, hey.
Hi, good to see you.
Yeah, we're at the elementary school, at the carnival going, oh my God, this is so much fun. And in the back of my head, all I can remember is, I remember when Alex first carnival.
Yes.
And he loved the bouncy house so much and he wouldn't leave it. And I was like, we're out of tickets. And,
all of that. I know. I always just every now and then somebody says, how are you? And I just play out like, what if I really answered that? What would they do? What would they do? My coworkers would say, actually, I think you do answer that quite often. You're pretty honest. But yeah, it is. It's living in the and I hope our conversations will give kind of some freedom and opening a window that grief is part of every single human's lives. And ours is out of order, out of the natural order of things. And yet it happens to thousands and thousands and thousands of us. And we just want to normalize it. And
it's not normal.
No.
But it is, yes, we need to normalize grief and have an open conversation.
Right. And then what is it that we do? Like, how are we sitting here being goofy? I mean, right before this, we were doing a silly TikTok together, how is that possible? And if we talk in 20 seconds, we could both be breaking down, right? That it's in us always,
never know.
Right?
Always.
And that's what we're trying to unlock, I think, in our conversations.
Yes.
How is it both?
How can it be both?
Yeah. How can it be both?
And how can you not feel guilty when you're having a good time? And you should. You should have a good time.
Yeah. We have to keep living, for sure.
We have to, because it's not that. Yeah.
I know. Well, we hope that you will join us on this journey. And
Michelle, I have one more question for
oh,
you.
yes, one more question.
What? So I know that we're talking about surviving and thriving in this world of child loss.
Yes.
What does it mean to you to survive and thrive? I guess, what does that look like in your life?
I think it's the survive part is honoring the grief. It's finding a voice, a space for how do I grieve and still be able to work? How do I grieve and still be a mom? And so surviving in that realm is, reading books and going to counseling and, sharing Carter's story. And so that is what surviving to me. And by doing those things, that allows me then to thrive, that I can be a really great teacher because I'm honoring the grief that I have. And part of that is, gosh, in back to school night, I have to tell the parents my story and Carter, and I have to, be brave enough in the surviving side of things, and in order for me to get done and have these people show up for me, that at the end of the back to school night, I mean, I don't know how many hugs I get in an evening, and thank you for sharing. It's beautiful. And I do the same thing with students. And because of that, I have this just beautiful relationship with students. And that's the case with other people I interact with, and so that thriving is related to grief, but then it's also, who am I as I'm silly and crazy
Just
and
living your life.
Yeah. And I don't want to lose that part of me. And at times you do, but, and so thriving is just getting also just to be me still.
I love it.
Yeah. How about you? What does survive and thrive to you?
Survive to me is getting out of bed every day. Sometimes it is a decision. Sometimes it's easy.
Yeah.
Surviving is showing up for the people in my life that are here. And thriving is, advocacy, because there's a lot of pain here.
Yeah.
You're surviving the pain, but finding purpose and why you're here and what,
Yes.
the purpose in the pain.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of my survive to thrive thing. Is
what can you pass on?
What can I pass on? Because I think, first and foremost, we don't want our children to be forgotten. And not that there was a reason that they passed away.
Right.
But we do need to find, I don't know the right word.
I know it's a searching for that their life mattered.
The balance. Yeah.
Yeah. That they're not here physically, but their spirit's here.
Yes.
And that we're finding a space in this world
Yes.
still to carry on something.
Said.
You know,
Perfectly
something
said.
Of them.
Yes,
yeah.
because, and that is my thrive, I think. It's just to
Yeah.
get out there and advocate for addiction and recovery.
Yes.
And, and like you said, speaking, telling Alex's story, joining committees and just out there.
Yes, absolutely.
And showing up for my family.
Yeah.
Day in and day out. So,
yeah.
That's it.
Makes you a warrior mom. For sure.
That makes me a warrior. I got it.
Some days, woo, it's a haggard kind of warrior.
Sometimes I feel like my cape's torn. But,
yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I am just honored to get to have this conversation with you, and we really hope you continue to join us and to hear more stories about other warrior moms. We want to once a month have a space where we'll get to dive a little bit deeper, for example, into Carter's story, and Alex's story. We'll have a moment, and all the other moms. And then the other podcast days will just be all the different topics related to this grief.
Oh, yeah. So that way everyone feels normal.
Yeah. So come along with us.
Yes, come on. Hopefully y'all will listen next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.